Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, there's been a lot of speculation about the whereabouts of this guy, Yemi Osinbajo, of course, the supposed vice president of Nigeria. The whole of the country, of course, have been wondering where this guy is, including on this channel, this my little channel. A lot of my Igbo followers have been chanting Unzobo Unzobo, where is Osinbajo, Unzobo Unzobo, and all that. So this guy has now finally broken cover. This guy, of course, being Osinbajo. So this guy has now finally broken cover. As guys, I bring you this breaking: Osinbajo finally reveals his whereabouts. So that's the headline that we're contending with now in this video. The vice president of Nigeria has resurfaced to tell us where he has been hiding. Again, the headline: Osinbajo finally reveals his whereabouts. So now let's now see what Buhari's T-boy has to say for himself. Vice President of Nigeria Yemi Osinbajo has broken his silence on his whereabouts in the past 1 month. It's been reported that Nigerians had taken to Twitter about 2 weeks ago to ask where Osinbajo has been since the outbreak of the C-19 virus in the country. But in an Instagram post shared on Saturday by his spokesperson, Laolu Akonde said Osinbajo has been attending meetings on how to improve Nigeria's economy. Akonde said Osinbajo on Thursday met with the governor of the central bank, CBN, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and some ministers via video conferencing. Akonde, however, urged Nigerians to ignore fake claims regarding President Muhammadu Buhari and the vice president's whereabouts. He said, "With my boss, the vice president, last night in his office, reviewing some of the events of the week. By the way, continue to ignore the professional fake news conduits who share fictions about the whereabouts of the president and his vice. The critical mass of our people see both the president and the vice president regularly on television." So that's absolutely a lie, of course, because there's a lot of pressure for Buhari to make a television appearance, which of course is being hidden away because one is frail of health and two is low of wit. So if he's appearing live on television, Nigerians would immediately see this, and that will be down that straw that breaks the camel's back of the corrupt regime that we have in place at the moment. So there's no TV appearance from Buhari. There's video recordings that they place every now and then. Nnamdi Kanu will tell you that he's doing it from Cuba, but wherever he's doing it from, there's no appearance of Buhari or Osinbajo on television. So we can disregard that, but let's take it from the top again. The critical mass of our people see both the president and the vice president regularly on television, hear about them regularly on radio, read from them in the press, and observe their activities regularly on social media. For instance, on Thursday, the vice president held a video conferencing meeting that included the governor of Kaduna, power and finance ministers, the CBN governor, and other government officials on how to expand electricity in the country. The work goes on, and Nigeria surely prevails. We will do it together. So this is now what this character is saying in the public space, and this is his tweet. Let me read his tweet out as well before we get into a summary. Hopefully it's not a rehash of what I've just read. It's not actually a tweet, it's actually on Instagram, and this is what this guy had to say. "With my boss, the vice president, last night in his office reviewing some of the events of the week. By the way, please continue to ignore professional fake news conduits who share fictions about the whereabouts of the president." I think this might well be a repeat of yes, this is a repeat of what I've just read. So let's just leave it there. But now let's now go on and discuss what is going on exactly. So we're in the middle of the most profound thing that has happened in the world. So not in the Nigeria, by the way. I say in the Nigeria, not in Nigeria, by the way, not in Africa, in the whole of the entirety of the world. We're in the middle of one of the most profound things, if not the most profound thing that has happened in the history of the world for at least a good 100 years. I'm not saying 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, 100 years. Because this global situation now, it has the ability, the capacity to wipe out a good 20-30% of the world population if it's not tackled and managed properly. And it has been tackled and managed properly globally. We have to consider that. So we're in the middle of that. So now, in the middle of now this global situation that has the whole world at vice grip, where is the president of Nigeria? This is the question. I am not the one asking the question. At least I am not the only one asking the question. There are 200 million odd people, at least according to their statistics. I don't believe that, but we go with that statistic. There are 200 million odd people asking, where is the president? But Femi Adesina, of course, will tell you that he has done a recorded broadcast to you 2 months ago. That should be enough to address all of this. Ignore the fact that you see Donald Trump on the news 10 times a day addressing the crisis in his own country, and you see the same thing repeat in Germany, in France, in Ghana, in South Africa, in England, in Australia and Canada, and pretty much every country, in the Philippines. Every president of every country in the world is in front of the media addressing his people and directing them on how to handle this pandemic. But of course, the Nigerian president is a stark illiterate and is an 80-something-year-old man of ill health. This is an 80-something-year-old man that has gone through a very major surgery 4 years ago, and he has not fully recovered. And there's really no, because if he's not fully recovered from that surgery that he went through in 2015, 2016, then at his age, 83, 84, 85, whatever his age is, and please disregard whatever it is. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that Buhari is a man in his mid to late 80s. So if he's not able to now fully recover at his age now from that surgery, then there's no hope then, because he's only going to get older and frailer. So there's no hope then that he's going to then recover in the future, because he has all of the mechanisms, all of the machinations, and all of the gravitas of the Nigerian state to help his recovery. All of the wealth of the country, that is Nigeria, is vested in the recovery of this guy. All of our medical knowledge, all of our expertise, all of our know-how is vested in the recovery of this guy. So if he's not able to recover with all of the cocooning and cotton wooling and corseting that the Nigerian state is able to insulate him by, then there's no prospect of him ever really fully recovering. And because he's not, and let me just digress a little bit. You will recall that during the campaign for the presidency, I think last year, there was this debate that was meant to take place, and Atiku Abubakar came back from the United States, where he had gone in order to counter the argument that the Americans want him and he cannot go to the United States. So he had gone to the United States to counter that argument. But then, of course, when they were telling him that this debate was indeed going to take place, he scurried back from the United States to come to Nigeria to come and confront Malam Buhari on a national debate. So this was his intention. So he was scurried back, and his campaign manager then, of course, was Bukola Saraki. So he was scurried back and handled by his handlers and presented at the television studio where this debate was meant to take place. All of the other presidential hopefuls, or these are just silly little, we're talking about Madam Obi, we're talking about Kingsley Moghalu and Feladu. So these are, just people who were just like publicity, so cloud chasers. So all of them were already lined up. But then, of course, the person that Atiku was coming to confront was Malam Buhari. So Atiku was at the steps of the rostrum, to mount the rostrum to the podium to go and confront Malam Buhari frontally, until they then got the signal that Malam Buhari had pulled out of that national debate. And you recall that the same thing happened in 2015, by the way, when Goodluck Jonathan was presented and present at the podium to debate this same Malami guy, but at the last minute again, they withdrew him, because of course they know that as soon Firstly, they know that Malam Buhari cannot stand on his feet for the rigor of a 1 hour debate. This is a man that cannot stand on his feet for more than maybe 10, 15, at the maximum 20 minutes. So he cannot stand on his feet for the rigor of a debate. And in all of the instances where we have had this guy interviewed, and especially I'll refer you back to the Kadira Ahmed interview during the debate, this guy could barely understand the questions that were being put to him, never mind being able to answer in any manner that coheres. And even if he was in his mind able to have an answer that coheres, he doesn't even have the grasp enough of the English language to speak it out in a way that will be understood by anyone. So this is a stark illiterate, frail of mind and body sort of person. So they hide him away completely, of course. But then this Yemi Osinbajo now is now having to break ranks to come out in the public space now to say, here I am. But then here you are, but you're not really there, are you really? Because we have all seen how you have been routinely and copiously and severally humiliated by Abba Kyari all the way through. Remember when Abba Kyari took documents to be signed by Buhari to Buhari in England, when Yemi Osinbajo was sitting in Aso Rock, drinking moi moi and ogi, and doing praise and worship and pretending like he's still of relevance, when we all know that he's an irrelevance within the Nigerian space. Conversations in the comment section, the vice president of Nigeria, supposedly, allegedly, Yemi Osinbajo, has broken cover and is now waving in the air to say, here I am. But where are you really? You are not really there, are you really? Because you've been completely emasculated by the Malamis.